Welcome in to Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Tough result for your Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 13 against the Detroit Lions. 40-14 the final score. Detroit gets to 5-7. The Jaguars fall to 4-8 on the season in a game in which it's not difficult to decipher what went wrong. I am going to provide some instant analysis. The game has just ended, again, by a final score of 40-14. I'd like to remind you to hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. Appreciate your support. Could not be doing these videos and bringing you this content without y'all's support, so it does mean the world to me. Unfortunately, it is bad news. Again, 40-14. The Jaguars' defense was catastrophic against the Detroit Lions in this one. And the Detroit Lions have a very talented offense. We're aware of that. But it was easy. They weren't going above and beyond the X's and O's. It wasn't like Amon St. Brown was having to make amazing catches. It wasn't like DJ Chark was having to do anything crazy. It wasn't like Jared Goff was having to fit it into tiny windows. It was easy for the Lions offense, just like it was easy for the Ravens offense the week prior and easy for the Chiefs offense the week before that. The Jaguars defense has been horrific over the last month. They did not force a single punt by the Detroit Lions for an entire game. I've never seen it before. 40 points, 40 burger. Mike Caldwell's defense allowed. I think no Andre Sisco certainly hurt. He was out with a shoulder injury, and he's the guy who kind of helps shut down the middle of the field at times. He's got great range, great ball skills, instincts, makes it difficult for some quarterbacks, but it was bigger than Andre Sisco being out. This felt like a systemic issue that you have now seen for a month. And I don't know how the Jaguars get this thing corrected with the current staff that they have in place. It's not working. What they are doing is consistently not working. And you've invested too much money on that side of the ball and too many draft picks on that side of the ball for you to not be able to force an opponent to punt once in an entire game, to be that hapless. It was pathetic performance by the Jaguars defensive staff, by the players on the field. Yes, there were some decent moments for some of the players. You saw Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker create some pressure at times, but it wasn't enough. You saw Darius Williams make a couple plays in coverage, but it wasn't enough. You saw Chad Muma and Foye Oluokun make some plays in pursuit. Dewey Wingard make some plays in pursuit, but Muma, he looked like he did his best Devin Lloyd impersonation on a chunk play for the Lions in the first half, where it was one of those things where clearly Muma needs to be following this receiver across the field, doesn't do it. Ends up being a big play for the Detroit Lions, and the Jaguars defense is currently broken. I said last week that, great win right against the Ravens, but the Ravens could have easily dropped 40 points on the Jaguars last week without any outside receivers. And so, this defense is in big trouble. Mike Caldwell, Doug Peterson, Mike Caldwell, the entire defensive staff, the players, they've got to figure something out, because if they don't, you might have to make some wholesale changes. And I would not blame the Jaguars for starting to look at how they can change up what's happening on the defensive side of the ball from the top down on the defensive side. It's been really, really poor. They got lucky last week that Baltimore missed out on a couple opportunities. But if Baltimore held on to a couple more balls, if Lamar placed a pass or two a little bit more accurately, you're talking about the Jags giving up 40 points in consecutive weeks, and that's unacceptable. Offensively, you had some big misses here too. It was just a rough day for the Jaguars. Zay Jones and Evan Ingram, they had butterfingers for most of the game. Ingram did end up getting into the end zone for his first touchdown as a Jaguar, but it wasn't pretty. Zay Jones was targeted 7 times, only caught 2 of those passes, had 3 or 4 clear drops. Evan Ingram had 2 more, and those were in critical situations where the Jaguars needed a big catch and the guys couldn't do it. Early fumble by Travis Etienne on the first drive also really hurt the Jaguars. The Jaguars were in a situation they did not want to be in. They don't like to receive the ball first. They like to kick it off, get the ball to start the second half. Weren't able to do that because they lost the coin toss this week. They get the ball first. They're driving the ball down the field. ETN's looking pretty good. The offense is looking all right. And he's on his way to a nice first down chunk run, and just big contact with Deshaun Elliott, who strips it out of there. And then you give the Lions offense the ball in great field position. You totally squander your opportunity for the ball first, and the Lions go score a touchdown, and they didn't stop scoring all day. Again, 40 points they gave up, the Jaguars did. 337 yards through the air from Jared Goff, who was 31 of 41. 2 touchdowns, 115.9 rating. The Jaguars' run defense was okay, but it didn't seem like if they ever had to make a stop that they were going to make a stop. Very disappointing stuff for the Jags overall. And I will dive in tomorrow morning to the tape to see, did anyone play well on defense consistently? I think the answer is probably going to be no. But you did see some big moments from a few of the players out there defensively. But back to the offense. Zay Jones, Evan Ingram killed the team with the drops. Travis Etienne, really, really unfortunate mistake. And he's had some issues holding on to the football early in this one. Overall, you talk about Trevor Lawrence. He played pretty damn well. His numbers are not overwhelmingly impressive at all. 17 of 31, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 82.6 rating. But Cam Robinson, your $18 million left tackle, the guy who, instead of going and getting a pass protector early in the draft last year, or going and paying an outside free agent like a Teron Armstead or someone else to come in and try to fortify left tackle, you said, Cam Robinson, you're our guy at left tackle. You're going to make $18 million per year to protect Trevor Lawrence. And he gets schooled by a 6th-round pick, James Houston, in a critical moment. And the way in which Cam Robinson was beat, the ease with which James Houston got around Cam Robinson on that stutter, it led James Houston right into Trevor Lawrence's knees. Should a penalty have been called? Probably. But it looked incredibly scary. It looked like Trevor Lawrence was going to sustain a knee injury, and he certainly sustained some sort of injury. But he came back for the Jaguars in the second half after that injury and continued to play well, continued to do good things for the Jaguars. It just was not enough from the rest of the team around him. From the offensive line to the receivers to the defense to the coaching, it was a poor game for most of the Jaguars players not named Trevor Lawrence. And this does nothing to impact my confidence in Trevor Lawrence at all moving forward. If anything, and I don't know how severe his injury is, I was skeptical of the Jaguars putting him back in this game when the score was 30-6. But they did it, and, avoided long-term injury. It looks like avoided anything major happening there, but I think Trevor Lawrence has shown that he's tough as nails and that he is the leader of this football team. And without him executing at a high level and without his receivers executing, this offense and this team has just got no chance because the defense damn sure ain't stopping anyone. Quiet day from Jameson Williams in his debut. Saw Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson both pick up sacks in this game, talking about some of these young impact players or guys that you want to be impact players at the very least. Look, Tennessee Titans, they lost in Philly. Jaguars squandered their opportunity to control their own destiny in 2022 to give themselves a really good opportunity to make next week's matchup with the Titans a game that could have gotten them within one game of the division lead. Instead, the Jaguars, their best optimal record now at this point is 9-8 on the year, sitting at 4-8. They'd have to pull off 5 straight wins, which would include 2 wins against the Titans, a win against the Texans, who they haven't beaten since 2017, a win against the Cowboys and Jets. Do you see that happening? I don't at this point. I never thought that it was super realistic that the Jaguars would go on that winning streak, but hope is still somewhat alive. I mean, I know the defense, the way they've performed over the last month is certainly going to give fans reasonable cause for concern moving forward here. And you should be concerned about the defense. But at least the offense is doing some positive things. Trevor Lawrence is playing well. If you had a few less mistakes from those receivers, maybe this could have been a game. Maybe if Travis Etienne didn't fumble that ball, maybe this could have been a game. But the Jaguars were completely outclassed by the Lions. on pretty much every front. If you're interested in draft position, now looks like they're going to be in the top 10 after week 13, maybe even close to the top 5 after being at 11 following week 12. There's a lot of games still to go this week and, of course, down the stretch during the rest of the season. But we'll figure out where they're at in draft position tomorrow. Again, Titans up next in Nashville. You've got to keep scratching and clawing and trying to figure out a way to keep this season alive. Giving the fans meaningful football in December is critical for this franchise. And you got to go out against Tennessee next week, a team that's lost 2 straight and a team that's owned the Jaguars for much of the franchise's history, and earn a victory. It's going to be tough to do, but that's what they're going to have to do. Go to Tennessee, go into Nashville, and steal a victory from the Titans to get this season back on track and to give yourself some sort of hope that the Jaguars could somehow sneak in, whether it be as the AFC South champion or as a wild card berth. I wouldn't hold my breath on that right now, but the big takeaways again: defense having a horrific stretch, which this game was the exclamation point on that sentence. 40 points allowed. Absolutely awful. Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne dropping the ball. Unfortunate. But that's going to do it. We will dive deeper into this contest tomorrow morning. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Tough one for the Jaguars. I know it's tough to stomach, but at least Trevor Lawrence is healthy, it appears. We'll find out more about that moving forward. Something to keep an eye on, but he did return. He did play well in his return, and I think that is the most important thing that you can take away from this game for the Jaguars' long-term health. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, at Generation Jag. Hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also hit the notification bell so you don't miss a show on here. We've got a channel membership. You can join here on YouTube, get some cool perks. You can also check out genjag.com, pick up some new Duval gear. Hopefully you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday, Duval. Thanks for tuning in.